Thanks for checking out today's video, guys. We are going to dive in talking about this Work Sharp Sharpener. I bought this a couple months ago and I've been using it ever since, and I'm kind of addicted to coming out and sharpening knives on this thing. It just works great and it's super quick and easy to use. So if you're looking to get something to sharpen your knives that is super easy, it takes the guesswork out of it. You're not having to worry about all these stones and different contraptions that you use to sharpen knives. This is going to be what you're looking for. And for 80 bucks, it's not that bad. It's honestly about the same price as if you were to go out and buy a good set of Japanese whetstones or something like that. So you're not investing too much, but it's going to be a great investment to keep your knives razor sharp, guys. So if you like this kind of stuff, stick around, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into this review right now. So who is this Work Sharp knife sharpener for? Well, pretty much anybody that owns knives, hunting knives, survival knives, kitchen knives, fillet knives, different things like that. You can sharpen all of these things on this Work Sharp knife sharpener. And I shouldn't even say knife sharpener because it's like an all-around tool sharpener. You can even sharpen axes with this thing or hatchets. It works for all of the above. And let's say you have a pair of scissors, you can also use it for that as well. So it's a great all-around knife sharpener. I mean, it's a grinder. It's like a miniature grinder, and knife makers have been using grinders for decades to sharpen and create the grinds and stuff on their knives. And that's kind of what this is. It's just a miniature grinding belt. That's all it is. So it makes it easy to set up. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and it's universal in the sense that you can use it on multiple different applications. So let's go over what you get in the box. Well, obviously you get the sharpener itself, which is just a really awesome high quality tool. You get 2 sets of complete belts here. So you get, and what I mean by a complete set, you get the really coarse grit belt. So if you're going to be sharpening your axe or tools or things like that, you're going to be using this really abrasive belt for that. Then you have your medium grit red belt, and that's what you're typically going to start out sharpening your knives with. And then you're going to move over to the purple honing belt. So this is like a strop style belt. If you're used to using whetstones and then at the end you use a leather strop, that is what this is going to kind of replace, is those leather strops. You know, let's say you go out and you field dress a couple deer with your hunting knife and you had it razor sharp before, and at the end of the day it just needs a little touch up. All you have to do is use your honing belt. Run it across the hone, you know, maybe 8 to 10 times on each side, and you're good to go. And that knife can be thrown back in your pack and it's good to go again. So switching out belts is really, really quick. And you have this nice little piece of cardboard that has a bunch of diagrams and stuff on it that we'll cover. But all you have to do is grab your belts here. And I'm going to grab that honing belt. So to switch this belt out, it's super quick and easy. All you have to do is flip this down, and you don't even really have to flip that down. It's just going to make it a little bit more accessible. And you can see back here it has little ridges, so you can get a good finger hold on this. And what you're going to do is push down and then twist, and then you can see how that locks that spring down, and you can easily remove this belt and then install the new one. You just want to make sure that these bottom pulleys, that belt gets on there nice and easy. And this is a super thin belt, this honing belt. That's why it's a little bit flimsier than the other one, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to get on the pulleys. But same thing, once you get it in place, push down, and then you're going to swivel it back the other way. All right, giving it a few clicks there, and you see it goes perfectly in line. If you see that your belt isn't perfectly center lined, you know, and it's not going on the pulleys the right way, you actually can remove this whole plate back here, and there is a screw under there. You can adjust the tracking of that belt. So a pretty cool little function there if you see or deem it necessary that your belt is out of alignment, which it should come from the factory pretty well aligned. I would assume so. So the box itself is super nice. Anytime I see a box like this that's made this good, it has this much detail on the box, you know you're getting a high quality instrument. I mean, it just it talks about its product on all of this stuff. So it says sharpen every knife you own: pocket knives, hunting knives, serrated knives, kitchen knives, scissors, tools. And we're going to go over all of that stuff. It breaks down the warranty here, and you can scan the QR code that's on here somewhere, and it talks about all of this stuff. You can watch demo videos. It just has all kinds of stuff that relates to their product here. Flexible abrasive belts, sharpen any knife shape. And you really can, even if you have a super thick knife like this 1/4 inch thick survival knife, you can still use those belts on this. Even though it has a kukri style blade shape, you can still use the sharpening belts. It's that universal. So this is the MK2 version, so it's the newer version. I didn't have the previous version, so I can't contest the differences and things like that, but this is just an all-around really nice knife sharpener. So this is kind of the stuff that holds it in the box. That's pretty cool. This shouldn't need to be said. Your knives are about to be really sharp. Cut with caution. Yeah, that's true. And it has like a little, this was actually on the sharpener itself. It's just another reminder to stop with the tip of the blade still on the belt. Okay, and I'm not real sure why that is. I'm not a knife expert or a knife sharpening expert, but I don't know. It's just the guidelines they give you. So I'm sure it's there for a reason. You get some nice stickers in the box. That's pretty cool. I love collecting stickers. I have tons of stickers on my workbench that's here on the sides, and I'm just a guru for stickers, but really high quality stickers. So if you're into that, you get a couple of those. Okay, this is your warranty card. And also, I think you can scan a QR code or something, and it takes you to where you can register your warranty and all that. So it does come with that 3-year warranty, so that's pretty nice there. So yeah, that's most of the stuff that comes in the box. Right here is a pretty cool little feature. So I keep this kind of just in the backdrop here. It tells you how to sharpen your knives. So you're going to place your blade there, rest the blade on the angle guide and the edge guides. Pull, power on, pulling the blade across the belt, obviously. And this is important right here. For a 4-inch knife, 2 seconds per side. So when you're running your knife through, let's say you had an 8-inch knife, which is one of the knives we're going to use, you would double that. So 4 seconds per side. And that's going to give you that nice even grind on each side. Okay, and then another reminder, power off with the tip still on the supported belt. And that's what I've been trying to do, but I don't really know if that matters. I mean, obviously a couple times you may see that I don't stop with it on the belt. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. What are you sharpening? Pocket knife, hunting knife, kitchen knife, fillet knife. And it breaks it down into the 2 different options you have on your sharpener. So you got your 20-degree kitchen option, which is in the up position, and it's currently in that pocket knife 25-degree in the down position. So I use that down position for, my larger survival knives. Even the knife like this with this Scandi grind, I'm going to use that 25-degree. So it's pretty cool. It gives you a little breakdown. Also right here, if your blade is completely destroyed, you need to put a whole brand new edge on that thing. It breaks it down. Medium belt, you're going to use 10 strokes per side, and then hone the burr off with that fine belt, another 10 strokes per side. If the edge could be better, 2 to 4 strokes with the medium grit, another 10 strokes per side with the fine belt. And then if your blade is just completely butchered for your kitchen knife, another 10 strokes with the medium belt. And you kind of get it. You guys can read. But cool little breakdown if you ever have any questions about what you're sharpening. This breaks it down completely. So you do have a couple different setups that you can do with this. So if you're going to be storing this away, you can depress this little button here and put it in the parked setting is what they call it. The parked setting, it kind of makes it a little bit more compact. If you're going to be sharpening things with this on a flat surface, you put it in, this mode where you can have it rested really nice. And let's say you're going to be sharpening your axe or some other tools, then you can put it into this tool grinding position to where you're going to be using this part to kind of go through and grind your tools down. So those are the 3 different settings it has, or the different positions. So some facts about the belts that it comes with. The green P80 belt, that is for grinding edge tools, like we said, axes, things like that. The red P220 belt, that's for sharpening knives. Like we said, we broke that down. And then the purple is a 6,000 grit honing belt. So that's what that is. Which speed should you use? Use speed 1 for knives and scissors. So you can tell right here, we have a 1 on that setting. So let's listen to how slow this is. All right, I'm going to put it in number 2, which for 2, it says use for camp and lawn tools. So if you're going to be sharpening like a mower blade or something like that, listen to how fast this is. A lot faster speed in that number 2 setting. So that's going to enhance the grinding capabilities and stuff with your green belt when you're actually doing it on like a mower blade or something. We've already broke down which angles to use. Edge guide. Use when sharpening knives. Flip down and stow for all other applications. And this is the edge guide right here. What that is, you're just supporting your knife blade on that so you can have a nice consistent pull through when you're sharpening your knives. And that can be flipped down if you really don't want it. And then it clicks back in place. All right, the other stuff is just your field sharpeners, your pull-through sharpener, things like that. So more instructions, like I said, can be scanned on this QR code, and it'll take you to their website, and you can learn different techniques and tips on how to sharpen your knives and stuff. So a lot of stuff comes in the box, really straightforward instructions. I wish a lot of companies would do it like Work Sharp does. I mean, these are just awesome instructions, and you scan that QR code, takes you to those how-to videos, and those are really helpful as well. So all of this is at your disposal when you purchase this item. So really nice when it comes right out of the box like this. Okay, if you're curious to how long these belts last, you know, I've been using these for, like I said, probably about 2 months, and I can see I nicked that one a little bit with one of the fillet knives, but it still works. It just has a little bit of a cut on it. But other than that, this has held up pretty well. I have found that the honing belt gets a little dirty because it's working that burr off that you've created with that red belt. So it does get a lot of the metal color on the belt itself, but it still holds up and lasts. The red belts, you know, they don't get as dirty looking. And then the green belt, you know, I haven't done too much tool grinding. I have sharpened a couple axes, and you could tell it looks pretty much brand new. So they do hold up for a pretty good while. But if you do need to buy replacement belts, you know, I've looked on Amazon and purchased this one right here, and I think it was $12 for another pack. So you get 2 more coarse belts, 2 medium belts, 2 fine belts, the same setup that comes from the box when you get your grinder. So for $12, that's not bad, and they last a long time, guys. You know, if you're just casually using this to sharpen up stuff, maybe after hunting season or something like that, you probably won't even have to buy belts for a couple years. You know, and that's not bad. I mean, if you're out with your bushcraft knives and doing hard use and things like that, then yeah, they might go through a little bit more use and you might have to buy more. And if you're using this to maybe build knives and put brand new grinds on knives, then you're going to go through the belts probably a lot faster, but it's still going to be cheaper than buying belts for, let's say, like a 1-inch or a 2-inch grinding belt system. All right, now we're going to go through and show you and demonstrate different knives getting sharpened on this thing. So that's going to demonstrate all the capabilities this thing has. And like I said, I've been completely satisfied with the performance of this Work Sharp sharpener. You know, I couldn't be happier. For $80. I think it's just a great deal. And I'm not having to worry about going to dip the stones in water. And I'm not having to worry about my technique and stuff as I'm trying to sharpen on those stones, because we don't have any stones. It's just straightforward. You pull through a couple times and you're sharpening your blade. And I have found that, you know, let's say this blade right here has been through a lot of hard use. You know, I might not even have to run this thing through 10 times on each side to get it sharp. I may only have to do it 5 times and then hone it out with the purple belt. And that knife is just good to go again. You know, you might not have to go the full 10 strokes on each side. So let's dive into the capabilities on this and show you what it's capable of. So you want to do a kitchen knife, super thin blade. All you have to do is set it to the 20-degree kitchen option, which is in the up position. You can see how the angle goes very, very vertical. And you're going to start out with one of these medium grit belts. So we're going to start on this side. And what you want to do is rest the back end of the blade here on this little rest that's right here. And what you're going to do is run it through here. You know, and if it does have an angle to it, some of the hunting knives and things like that are going to have more of an arc to them along the edge there. So you're going to have to compensate by lifting the handle a little bit to compensate for it. But if you want to, you can run about 10 passes on each side here with the medium grit. And then what you're going to do is switch over to the purple belt, which you see here in the corner. And that's going to be your honing belt. And you can run it another 10 passes. But each time you don't actually have to do that. You know, if your knife is relatively sharp and you want to just fine tune it and hone it up, well, you just leave the purple belt on and run it, you know, 5 to 6 passes, upwards of 10 passes, you know, and do that periodically, and that's going to keep your knife super sharp. But I'm going to demonstrate here with the kitchen knife, you know, what it looks like to do a pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to stop the machine with the tip of the blade still contacting the belt. Switch over to the other side and do another 10 passes if that's what your knife needs, and then switch over to that purple belt, and then you can hone that burr off. And what a burr is, it's like a little thin piece of metal that has, you know, moved because of the sharpening. So it might feel like a little ridge on the blade. And that's just where that belt has moved that metal away from it. And what you're going to do once you fill that burr, and like I said, it might not take 10 passes to fill that burr. If you fill it after, you know, 3 or 4, then you can quit with this belt and then switch to the purple. And that honing belt is going to get rid of that little burr or that ridge in the metal. You can also do fillet knives, same way. And just by a couple passes, you can really get a really sharp edge. And, you know, I can't imagine if you did 10 each time, you'd have a razor sharp blade. One thing to keep in mind, though, you are removing metal material. So if you're using this medium grip belt, you're actually removing quite a bit of metal every single time. I mean, if you did this a lot, you would notice that it's wearing the blade down. So you don't have to do this every single time with the medium grit. You may just want to hit it with the honing belt, the purple honing belt, every so often, and that's going to keep your blade sharp. So you don't actually have to do the medium grit every single time. You're just going to end up wearing your blade out. Okay, so that's the basis of the Work Sharp, you know, using the medium grit belt to form that burr on the blade and then switching over to the fine grit belt to actually work that burr off of there. And now we're going to go through some of the different types of blades that you can actually sharpen with this. So we already hit the kitchen knives. Maybe you're looking to sharpen your fillet knives. You can do the very same thing. Thin hunting knives like this gut knife here. You know, you could still use that kitchen 20-degree bevel. But let's say you want to go up to a thicker knife. Let's say a pocket knife, outdoor knife. You know, like this survival knife here. You're going to want to switch it over to the down position, which is labeled pocket and 25 degrees for the angle that you have here. And then you're going to do the very same thing. Make sure that the back end of the blade here is contacting that little shelf. You're going to start the machine, run it through. And then, as you can tell, I raised the back end of the handle here to compensate for the curvature of this blade. And once again, do about 10 passes, upwards of 10 passes on each side. Switch over to that purple honing belt, and you're going to work that burr off, and it's going to be a really razor sharp knife. This survival knife here is 1/4 inch thick steel, and you can still use that 25-degree angle. You're going to see a little bit more sparks with this high carbon steel, but you can still fit it in there. Even with this kukri style curvature blade, it still works. You know, I'm gonna rest it on the shelf, make sure the back end of the blade here is still contacting the belt. I'm gonna start the machine and run it probably about 3.5 seconds because of the blade length. And I'm just gonna work it on the curvature the same way and then stop it with the tip still on the belt. I'll show you from the other side here. Working that through. And you can tell it's a little bit challenging because of the blade angle and the design of this one, but it's still gonna get that thing just razor sharp. And we haven't even used the honing belt yet. That's how sharp this thing will get it. So we address the kitchen knives, fillet knives, mainly the normal style grinds that you're gonna have on your knives. Well, this is a Scandinavian grind, which a lot of bushcraft knives like this one has. A lot of the Moras will have this type of grind. It's a really nice grind to have on a survival knife because it's really flat, it's easy to sharpen, and it's no different for this belt. And it's gonna be the same way, guys. You just start out with the 25-degree angle, make sure the back end of the blade is contacting, and you're just gonna run the machine. Stopping on the center of the belt. All right, and it works perfect for that Scandi grind. Razor sharp already. Like I said, we haven't even used that honing belt yet. So this thing is a miracle, and it's really quick when you're looking to sharpen your knives. So we demonstrated with the red belt on there, the medium grit, but if we were gonna hone this knife, literally you just do it the same way. Obviously make sure this rest is up there, and you're gonna do it the same way. Literally just run it through, stopping with the blade in the middle, running it through, blade in the middle, making sure you're staying in contact with these guides on the side. Once again, making sure your knife is resting up against those guides. You can see there, you wouldn't want it like this. You want it resting up against that guide as you're passing through to make sure you're getting a consistent bevel on the grind. And what should happen once you go over to this honing belt, once you run it through however many passes you make, what you're gonna be feeling for is that burr to be gone. When you're running your thumb perpendicular across the blade here, you shouldn't feel that ridge or that wire filling that you had when that burr was there. You know, it should just feel like there is the edge of the blade and that's it. So there you go, that's how you use that honing belt. So you can sharpen gut hooks with this thing. You just want to make sure you're on the downhill side and you can slide that right in there. You might have to get kind of creative with the angle depending on how far forward your gut knife is. And then you just give it a couple strokes there and that'll hone that side down. And then you can flip it over and do the same thing on this side. So just make sure you're on this downhill side and not this side, because if you're on this side, it's going to be going into the blade and you have the chance of cutting it. And with a curved blade like this, to keep it flush to the belt, you may have to pull it up as you go through. And you don't have to stay on these guides right here if you don't want to. You can even remove it if it's in the way. And we're actually going to put it down like that to do the tools and stuff like that over here. Stopping with it in the middle of that belt. And that's pretty much how you do it. You'd swap over to the honing belt once you reach your desired amount of passes. And it may not be 10 passes every time. It may only be 2 or 3. Whatever you feel is adequate to get that really, really sharp edge. Let's say you have a pair of scissors you want to sharpen. You can even do it on this Work Sharp. All you're gonna do is use this side right here, find the angle of your scissors, rest it against that, and you're gonna be able to sharpen it just fine or hone it however you need to. Super easy. So you can use this for multi-use, not just knives. You can use it for tools. I'm gonna show you here in a second. We're gonna demonstrate it on an axe and it's just an all-around good sharpener. So one thing that you're gonna want to do before you start sharpening some type of tool like this is first you're gonna want to switch out the belt for the green belt. The green belt has a more abrasive grit to it. You know, it's got more of a higher grit, and it's going to remove more metal with each pass. So you're not going to really start out with the red belt, and you're not going to use the purple belt, because tools like an axe, all you really need is this heavy grit. So we're going to switch that out. Once again, it's super quick and easy to switch out these belts. Look at that. So when you put your new belt on, you really want to make sure that you get the belt all the way on that pulley down there. This side is just smooth, but this one actually has a little ridge there. If it's not all the way across that ridge, it would have the tendency to come off the track. So just make sure that's not going to be the case. But what you're going to want to do is actually move this to a different position. So the position it's in right now is designed to sit on a workbench, and it's going to be stable that way. But what you're going to want to do is rotate the cassette, is what they call this, forward. Depress this button right here. Really simple, and push it in and rotate that forward, and then you'll see the little detents lock in place. But that's going to put it in this position. So what you're going to be using is this area to do all the grinding. We have our axe, and this is a pretty common tool that people sharpen, so it would be pretty awesome if you had a sharpener that's dual function like this Work Sharp. So all I'm going to do is put my axe here on the bench. And if you had a bench vise or something like that to secure this down, that would be even better. But I'm just going to use my hand, and we have it in the grinding position. And what you're going to do is find what type of angle this needs to be sitting at. And this right here can actually rest on the blade of whatever you're sharpening. You can see right here, and you can use that as kind of a reference. You know, but just making sure that you're going to be consistent with that angle. All right, so it doesn't have to get too fancy, because, you know, it's an axe blade. It doesn't have to be razor sharp. It just has to get the job done. All right, so right there we have it. And that thing already, with just those couple passes we made that thing already just razor sharp. And it's almost like a knife blade right there. That's just crazy. But very, very functional when it comes to that multi-use capability. All right, everybody, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you liked it and had a little bit more insight of what you're going to be getting with this Work Sharp. And if you've never really considered an electric style knife sharpener, maybe this sparked you to maybe get a little bit more interested in it and maybe purchase one of your own. Because I think for the money, I mean, this takes out a lot of the guesswork. And, you know, knife sharpening isn't the easiest thing in the world if you've never done it that much. You can really mess up a knife blade if you're using stones and things. This is going to keep things nice and consistent for you. It's going to keep those angles there, so you're not going to be messing up your knife blade. And it's going to last for the long term. If you have any questions or concerns, please place those down in the comment box below. I'm going to put the links to this item in the description box. Check it out on Amazon. That's where I got this one. And I've been loving it, guys. I think for a knife sharpener, you know, this thing gets a very positive review from me. I think you're getting a lot for the money on this. So definitely check it out. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe. I'll catch you in future gear review videos.